Chosen one, close every other tab, silence your phone, and lock your eyes on this message right now. That restless feeling pulling at you, the one you have not been able to shake since you woke up this morning, that is not anxiety. That is a summons. God has been trying to get you alone. The enemy is working overtime today for one reason, and one reason only. He knows what gets released the moment you finally sit still long enough to hear what heaven has been waiting to say. It all shifts from this moment. The noise, the confusion, the spiritual static that has been jamming your signal for weeks. But here is what you need to understand. This shift is not coming from nowhere. It is coming directly from what you have been doing in secret. The prayers no one witnessed. The tears you cried in a room by yourself. The moments you chose to keep going when every logical reason told you to stop. Think back to that moment this week when you pulled away from everyone. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe you did not even have the words to explain why you needed to be alone. You thought you were isolating. You thought something was wrong with you for wanting to disappear from the noise. You did not know it then, but that withdrawal was not weakness. That was God separating you from distraction so He could speak directly to your spirit without interference. You did not find this video by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. God did. This is a divine appointment written into the architecture of your destiny long before you were born. You are not stumbling across a message. You are arriving at a moment. Stay until the very last second of this, because in the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the exact verdict heaven has already issued over your situation. I am going to walk you through the precise moment this week where you unknowingly activated a spiritual shift you cannot yet see with your natural eyes. And at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that seals this season shut, so the enemy cannot reopen what God has already closed. Do not leave early. The version of you that has been on your knees asking God why He is silent, that version of you deserves to stay until the answer arrives. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere around you has not just been quiet. It has felt sealed, like you are inside something, a waiting room, a suspension, a holy pause you cannot name. Maybe you have been checking your phone more than usual, waiting for a sign, a message, a confirmation that you are still on the right path. Or maybe you have done the opposite. You put the phone down, went completely still, and just sat in the silence because the noise of other people's lives felt unbearable against the weight of what you are carrying. You feel like you are in between, not where you were, not yet where you are going. And in that in-between space, the enemy has started whispering a very specific lie. He is telling you that the reason God has gone quiet is because you did something to break the connection. He is replaying a moment in your mind. Maybe it was that conversation where you said too much. Maybe it was the moment you chose yourself over someone else, and now you are wondering if that was selfish. Maybe it was the moment you admitted to God that you were tired of waiting, and you questioned whether any of this was real. The accuser is looping that moment and telling you that your doubt disqualified you, that your honesty offended heaven, that God told you to watch this alone because He has a correction coming, not a confirmation. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Isaiah 45:3 says, "I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, who summons you by name." Listen to that promise, hidden treasures. Riches stored in secret places. God does not bring you into isolation to punish you. He brings you into isolation to give you something He cannot hand to you in a crowd. The private season is not rejection. It is preparation for a private transfer of wealth, of revelation, of authority that was always meant to come to you alone. The enemy told you the silence meant abandonment. But the truth is this: God summoned you by name into this moment. The quiet around you is not absence, it is custody. He has you in a protected enclosure because what He is about to release into your life cannot be given in the open. The heaviness you feel is not the weight of being forgotten. It is the weight of something being loaded onto you, something significant, something that requires you to be still long enough to receive it without dropping it. You thought pulling away from everyone this week was a sign that something was wrong with you. But let me reframe your reality right now. That was not isolation, that was installation. And now that you understand what has been happening, now that you can see the withdrawal for what it truly was, something else needs to be named, a deeper truth unveiled. Because this period of installation, this divine quietude, is merely the genesis of a grander unfolding in your life. It is not merely a pause, it is a profound process. The fundamental query is not whether the divine hand is actively at work, for His loom never ceases its intricate weaving. Rather, the crucial question is whether your understanding aligns with the magnificent edifice He is constructing within and through you. Until your spiritual sight clears and you perceive this divine blueprint with crystalline clarity, you will, with every fiber of your being, continue to misinterpret every quiet, seemingly unproductive moment as a punitive absence, a cosmic chastisement, when in actuality, each silent breath, each moment of perceived stagnation, is an integral sacred act of preparation. It is the deep root system forming in the unseen soil, unseen but vital, before the mighty tree can bear fruit and withstand the storms. It is the careful tempering of metal, heating and cooling, to forge a blade that will not break under pressure. Here is what many, even those walking a spiritual path, often fail to grasp about the seasons that press with the greatest weight, that feel like an unbearable heaviness upon the soul. When the Creator of the universe is preparing to entrust something of monumental significance into a person's life, a destiny, a calling, a profound assignment, that individual rarely experiences a surge of power or an overwhelming sense of might in the midst of the process. Instead, they feel profoundly pressed, as if an invisible weight is bearing down upon them, crushing their spirit, flattening their ambition, and dimming their light. They perceive themselves as shrinking, diminishing, becoming smaller and less capable with each passing day, when the profound spiritual reality is precisely the opposite. They are, in fact, expanding. Their spiritual capacity is stretching, their inner container is growing, their soul's architecture is being reinforced to hold the immensity that is to come. Imagine the powerful metaphor of a bow being drawn back to its maximum tension. In that very instant, that zenith of resistance, the arrow does not experience the exhilaration of flight. It does not feel launched, soaring through the air towards its target. Instead, it feels utterly restrained, held captive, locked in a direction that, from its limited perspective, makes absolutely no sense. It's held taut against the natural inclination to spring forward. Yet, the tension, that agonizing pull, is not the adversary of its magnificent flight. On the contrary, that very tension, that precise moment of restriction, is the indispensable force that makes the flight not only possible, but powerfully propelled. It is the energy being stored, the potential being gathered. What your human senses, what your weary spirit has been interpreting as restriction, as confinement, as a holding pattern, has in fact been the precise and deliberate setting of your trajectory, the calibration of your course for a launch far grander than you can yet conceive. It is the potter shaping the clay, not crushing it, the refiner purifying the gold, not destroying it. But here is where this truth pierces even deeper into the core of your experience. The profound tension you have been living inside, the spiritual and emotional tautness that has defined your recent days, was never a random act of fate or a meaningless consequence of circumstance. It was divinely directional. The master archer does not pull a bow without having a precise, predetermined target already in his sacred view. Every millimeter of that draw, every fraction of a degree of tension, is calibrated with purpose. This means that the very forces, the very circumstances, the very feelings that have felt like they were holding you captive, preventing your progress, and stifling your momentum, have actually been meticulously aligning you. They have been pivoting your perspective, adjusting your spiritual compass, and honing your focus towards that specific target. And this revelation brings us to a profound truth that most people tragically overlook in seasons such as this. The enemy, that ancient adversary, does not waste his precious resources, his dark energies, or his cunning strategies fighting against individuals who have no future, who possess no divine destiny, who are not earmarked for greatness. He does not allocate his limited power to delay or derail what possesses no inherent spiritual momentum or no powerful purpose behind it. The sheer intensity, the relentless pressure, the pervasive level of resistance you have been experiencing is not, let me repeat, not evidence of God's absence, nor a sign of his displeasure, nor an indication of your insignificance. On the contrary, it is unequivocal evidence of what the enemy in his unseen realm can already perceive coming for you. A glorious future, a mighty anointing, a profound assignment that you, in your limited natural vision, cannot yet fully grasp or see for yourself. It is the shadow cast by your approaching light, the tremor of the earth before a mighty move of God. Consider, if you will, a pivotal and often overlooked moment in the ancient text, the book of Daniel. Daniel, a man of unwavering faith, enters into a period of deep prayer and fasting, seeking divine understanding and intervention. As soon as his heartfelt prayer ascends to the heavens, God, in his infinite swiftness, dispatches the answer immediately. The divine decree is issued, the heavenly messenger sent forth. Yet that answer, though dispatched from the throne room without delay, does not manifest in Daniel's natural reality for an agonizing 21 days. This protracted waiting period was not because the omniscient God somehow forgot his faithful servant. It was not because Daniel's prayer lacked fervor or potency, nor was it a test of endurance through divine silence. The sacred text reveals a far more profound truth. There was an intense, unseen warfare raging in the spiritual realm, a cosmic clash of forces specifically targeted at hindering that divine answer from reaching its intended recipient. The angel, carrying Daniel's breakthrough, his revelation, and his divine response, was intercepted. He had to engage in a ferocious spiritual battle, fighting through a formidable opposition orchestrated by the Prince of Persia, a demonic principality. The resistance encountered was directly and precisely proportional to the immense significance of what was being delivered, to the weight of the revelation, and the impact it would have on human history. I implore you, let that truth settle deep within your spirit. Let it anchor itself in your weary mind. The delay you experienced was not a reflection of God's doubt about you, nor was it a sign of his disregard. The delay was opposition, and this opposition was not random. It was not a meaningless spiritual skirmish. It was meticulously strategic, precisely targeted at what Daniel, and by extension what you, are about to receive. Therefore, what you, in your human frailty and limited perspective, have been labeling as your personal delay, your frustrating standstill, your unending wait, is actually a fierce and monumental war being waged on your behalf in spiritual dimensions that remain completely invisible to your natural eyes. The answer to your most fervent prayer, the very breakthrough you have yearned for, the destiny you have whispered in the dark, is not stagnant. It is already in magnificent motion. It has already been irrevocably dispatched from the throne room of grace, traveling through the unseen corridors of the heavens towards you, and what you are currently experiencing in your natural, tangible reality, the persistent resistance, the heavy atmosphere, the inexplicable blockages, is not a sign of failure or abandonment. It is, in fact, the undeniable echo of a titanic battle, a resounding spiritual clash happening in the unseen realm, directly over the precious cargo that is being sent your way. You are not waiting because you have been forgotten by the Most High, cast aside into some cosmic abyss of neglect. You are waiting, truly waiting, because what is coming for you, what is breaking through the dimensions for your life, is of such unparalleled significance, of such profound divine importance, that it is deemed worthy of the most intense spiritual contestation. It is a treasure guarded, a prize fought for, a destiny so potent that the enemy seeks to prevent its manifestation at all costs. And what is coming next will likely surprise you, because it always does, for God's ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts than our thoughts. Stay with me, for the journey into understanding deepens. Now, once this profound understanding finally penetrates your spirit, the radical truth that the very opposition you encounter is not a sign of failure, but a powerful confirmation of your divine destiny. Something fundamental and transformative has to shift in the very fabric of how you are navigating through your days. This requires more than intellectual assent. It demands a visceral recalibration of your spiritual posture, because the common, almost instinctual human response, when confronted with persistent resistance and overwhelming heaviness, is to withdraw, to retreat into a self-imposed spiritual silence, and tragically, to do so in the wrong way. Most people cease speaking. They stop declaring the promises of God over their lives. They interpret the weight, the pressure, the oppressive atmosphere as a definitive signal to pull back from the very act of faith, to cease their spiritual exertions, when in profound spiritual reality it is precisely the opposite. It is an urgent clarion call to press deeper into the heart of faith, to lean harder into the divine. And this, beloved, is precisely the critical juncture where so many chosen people, so many vessels of destiny, inexplicably lose a momentum they absolutely cannot afford to forfeit. Their silence in the natural realm tragically translates into a deafening silence in the spiritual realm. And let me be unequivocally clear, silence in the spirit is not, repeat, is not rest. It is not a Sabbath. It is a strategic retreat, a withdrawal from the battle, a surrender of the ground that has been divinely assigned to them. It is akin to a musician silencing their instrument in the middle of a symphony, or a soldier laying down their weapon on the battlefield. The ancient prophet Elijah, after experiencing one of the most spectacular, undeniable victories in biblical history, after the consuming fire fell from heaven upon Mount Carmel, publicly vindicating the one true God and utterly defeating the 450 prophets of Baal, understood this profound human and spiritual depletion intimately. He didn't ride a wave of triumph. He collapsed under the oppressive weight of the aftermath. He retreated to a solitary broom tree in the wilderness and, in a raw display of utter exhaustion and despair, asked God to take his life. He was not merely being dramatic or seeking attention. His depletion was genuine, profound, and all-encompassing. He was spiritually, emotionally, and physically drained to an extent that the sheer magnitude of his recent victory could not and did not fix. It was a deep soul weariness that even divine triumph could not instantly eradicate. And what was God's response to this profound human vulnerability? He did not rebuke Elijah for his lack of faith or his moment of weakness. He did not deliver a fiery sermon or a theological lecture on resilience. Instead, in an astonishing display of divine compassion and practical care, he sent an angel, not once but twice, not with a sermon, but with simple, life-sustaining sustenance, freshly baked bread and a jar of cool, refreshing water. The angel's instruction was clear and gentle: "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you." And then, in a beautiful act of respecting Elijah's agency and his need for self-initiated action, God waited. He waited for Elijah to find the strength to make the choice, to physically get up and begin the arduous walk to Horeb, the sacred mountain of God, on his own terms. What I implore you to deeply internalize and truly see in that pivotal moment with Elijah is this profound, often overlooked truth. God met the prophet's crushing exhaustion with tender nourishment, with practical provision, and with profound empathy, not with scathing criticism or judgmental condemnation. He acknowledged the immense weight and overwhelming difficulty of Elijah's journey, recognizing his weariness without in any way minimizing or dismissing it as insignificant. And critically, he gave Elijah precisely what he needed. Not a miraculous removal of all obstacles, not an instant teleportation to his destination, but the sustained energy and renewed vitality to keep moving forward without removing the inherent difficulty, the challenging terrain, or the necessary length of the road ahead. The journey was still immensely long. The cave, when he finally arrived, was still dark and isolated. The wilderness winds still howled. But Elijah, empowered by that divine meal, sustained by that heavenly intervention, arrived at the mountain of God. And it was in that very cave, in the profound stillness that settled after the dramatic wind, the terrifying earthquake, and the consuming fire had passed, in that sacred, hushed quietude, that God finally spoke to Elijah, not in a thunderous roar, but in a still, small voice, a delicate whisper that only a prepared and quieted heart could truly discern. This echoes your own journey. God has not been silent with you in this season. Let that deeply resonate. On the contrary, He has been speaking, but He has been communicating in a register, in a frequency that demands the most profound stillness, the most attentive quietude, to truly hear and comprehend. And every element of this recent season, the withdrawal you've experienced, the pervasive heaviness that has settled upon your spirit, the sense of suspension, of being held in limbo, every single one of these seemingly adverse circumstances has been an intentional divine act. It has been His sovereign hand, quieting the cacophony of frequencies around you, dampening the external noise, muffling the clamor of the world, so that His still, small voice, that intimate, profound whisper of truth and direction, could finally pierce through the din and land unequivocally within your spirit. It's like a master sound engineer isolating a single vital track amidst a complex orchestral piece, ensuring its clarity. And this leads us to something many people completely miss, a crucial revelation that transforms everything. I need you to stay exceptionally close here, to lean in with your entire being, because what I am about to articulate is the singularly most powerful insight that will fundamentally change the posture, the trajectory, and the outcome of everything that comes next in your journey. This is not a minor adjustment, it is a complete reorientation. Most people, when they find themselves in a season akin to yours, a period of perceived waiting, of intense pressure, or of desperate need, are often found praying, and praying earnestly, for the breakthrough to manifest. They are humbly asking God to initiate movement, imploring Him to open closed doors, begging for a clear sign, a tangible indication of His presence and power. And let me be clear, these prayers, born of sincere hearts and desperate circumstances, are not inherently wrong. There is grace and power in asking. However, while good, they are incomplete. They reflect a posture that, while seeking God, still positions Him as the one who might move, the one who could act. because the prayer God is actually waiting for, the one that possesses the inherent power to fundamentally shift the spiritual atmosphere, to dismantle unseen barriers, and to unlock the floodgates of heaven, is not merely a request. It is not an entreaty for something to happen. It is, with all the spiritual weight it carries, a declaration. There exists a chasm of difference, a profound spiritual distinction between asking God to move, to intervene, to change your circumstances, and boldly announcing to the entire spiritual realm, to angels and principalities alike, that He has already moved, that the victory is already secured, that the answer has already been dispatched. One is the prayer of a person still lingering in a state of waiting for tangible evidence, their faith often contingent on what they can see or feel. The other is the prayer, or rather the decree, of a person who has made a resolute decision to govern their situation, to rule over their circumstances, not from the limited perspective of what their natural eyes can perceive, but from the unshakable certainty of faith, grounded in the established reality of heaven. The ancient King Jehoshaphat, when faced with an insurmountable military threat from 3 combined armies, understood this profound spiritual principle. There was no conventional military answer, no human strategy, no logical tactical maneuver that made any sense in the face of such overwhelming odds. His kingdom was on the brink of annihilation. Yet in that moment of existential crisis, he did not dispatch his seasoned warriors to the front lines first, relying solely on human might. Instead, in a move that defied all military logic and human understanding, he sent worshippers. He appointed singers, robed in holy garments, to march ahead of the army at the very vanguard, praising God for a victory that had not yet appeared, that had not yet manifested in the natural realm. It was an act of audacious, preemptive gratitude, and the scripture, in its profound simplicity, records the astonishing outcome plainly. As they began to sing and praise, the Lord set ambushes against the men of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, who were invading Judah, and they were routed. The declaration of praise, the worship that affirmed a victory not yet seen, fundamentally preceded the manifestation of that victory. The worship was not merely a passive response to an already secured triumph. The worship itself was the potent spiritual weapon that initiated and released the divine intervention, the heavenly strategy that utterly annihilated the enemy. It was the key that unlocked the ambush. Place your hand on your chest and speak this with me, and mean every word. I release the lie that I am the exception. I release the belief that my past disqualified what God already designated. I release the grief, the exhaustion, the weight of waiting in silence when I did not know if anyone was listening. I receive the truth that I was summoned here by name. I receive the declaration that my delay has been a battle fought on my behalf. I receive the authority of this season, the assignment hidden in the isolation, the treasure stored in the secret place. I am not behind. I am not forgotten. I am not disqualified. I am exactly where God placed me, being prepared for exactly what He promised me. The enemy's window is closed. What heaven has spoken over my life is sealed, established, and already in motion. I arise, I eat, I take the journey, I walk into what is mine, and I will not shrink from it one more day. Coming up, the one thing you have been treating as your greatest weakness in this season that is actually the most dangerous weapon you possess. You will not want to miss this, for it will redefine your understanding of yourself. But first, this profound truth about Jehoshaphat's audacious act of worship has to deeply land within your spirit. Because what King Jehoshaphat executed was far more than a simple act of courage or faith. It was a theologically confrontational act. It directly challenged the prevailing human understanding of how God operates and how breakthrough is achieved. It was, at its very core, an ingenious act of spiritual warfare, meticulously disguised as worship. This level of conviction, This radical trust in divine sovereignty requires a depth of spiritual understanding and an unwavering certainty that most people have not yet had the opportunity or the pressing need to cultivate. It is the profound conviction that God is not merely going to come through eventually, that He is not merely going to try to intervene at some point in the future. No, the conviction required is far more potent. It is the absolute certainty that God has already come through. The victory is already secured in the spiritual realm, the answer already established in the heavenly courts. And what you are actively engaged in right now, in this very moment, is simply the sacred act of aligning your verbal declaration, your heartfelt praise, and your unwavering faith with a divine reality that already exists, perfectly established, eternally true, in the glorious presence of heaven. Your worship is not an attempt to persuade God. It is a powerful echo of His already accomplished will. Consider the Apostle Paul and his companion Silas, shackled in the wretched prison at Philippi. They did not retreat into quiet, mournful prayers, though their circumstances certainly warranted such a response. Instead, at the midnight hour, in the deepest, darkest point of their human suffering, bound in heavy chains, with their backs brutally torn open from savage beatings, they did something utterly revolutionary. They sang loudly. Their voices, raw and resonant, filled the oppressive darkness of the dungeon. And the scripture, in a detail that is often overlooked but profoundly significant, explicitly records that the other prisoners were listening. That seemingly incidental detail is, in fact, powerfully revelatory. The people around you right now, those who are watching you navigate this incredibly difficult season, the ones who have been silently observing your quiet endurance, your unexpected resilience, your stubborn refusal to utterly collapse under the immense pressure, they are, in essence, the other prisoners. They are the witnesses to your journey, and your praise, your radical declaration of faith in the midnight hour of your suffering, is not merely for your own spiritual upliftment. It is a powerful, real-time testimony. It is irrefutable evidence being filed directly into the spiritual records, a profound demonstration to both seen and unseen realms that your God, the God you serve, is not contingent upon your comfort, your convenience, or your circumstances. His faithfulness is absolute, unwavering, and eternally present, even when all human comfort has been stripped away. And that brings us directly to what I promised you earlier. The very thing you have, perhaps unknowingly, been calling your greatest weakness, the very aspect of your being you've sought to suppress or apologize for. I want to talk about your profound sensitivity. The way you experience life, the way you feel things, is often at a depth that transcends what most others encounter. The very atmosphere around you, the unspoken emotions, the subtle energies, impacts you more profoundly than it seems to affect those around you. You've likely felt the persistent need, a visceral pull, to remove yourself from overwhelming noise, from dense crowds, from the relentless onslaught of other people's opinions and expectations, simply because the sheer weight of it all becomes genuinely unbearable, an oppressive burden on your spirit. You have, in your earnest desire to fit in or to cope, been apologizing for this innate quality. You have internally and perhaps externally labeled it as a flaw, a defect in your spiritual or emotional makeup. You have meticulously managed it, compartmentalized it, and tried to control it as if it were a significant liability, something to be minimized or overcome, instead of recognizing and stewarding it like the precious, powerful, and divine gift it actually is. Let us be unequivocally clear. What you possess is not merely emotional instability, nor is it a sign of inherent weakness. What you have been divinely endowed with is a heightened spiritual sensitivity, a finely tuned inner instrument that, if left untrained, undirected, or unacknowledged, will indeed feel like a crushing burden. a relentless source of overwhelm and pain. It will be like an antenna picking up static because it's not tuned to the right frequency. But once this profound spiritual capacity is consecrated, once it is intentionally and lovingly submitted to God, once it is intentionally trained and directed in alignment with its divine purpose, it transforms into an extraordinarily potent form of spiritual discernment, a deep intuitive knowing that most people will spend their entire lives striving to develop and yet never fully access or comprehend. The very same capacity that allows you to feel the nuances of life and the depths of emotion so intensely is the identical spiritual faculty that enables you to sense what others cannot perceive. It allows you to hear the whispers of the spirit that others cannot detect, to perceive the subtle shifts in the unseen realm, and to intercede with an accuracy and power that springs not merely from intellectual knowledge or factual information, but from a profound, spirit-led perception and intuition. It is a spiritual radar, a divine compass, a prophetic insight. And now, beloved, here is where the deeper confrontation truly begins. Because we have been meticulously building to this pivotal moment, layer by layer, truth upon truth, and this is a revelation that absolutely cannot be avoided or skirted around. It demands your full, unwavering attention. The singular thing that has genuinely been holding you back in this recent season, the true impediment to your breakthrough and your advancement, is not what the enemy has done to you, though his attacks may have been real and painful. It is not the people who unexpectedly left your life, severing ties and leaving wounds. It is not even the doors that were forcefully closed in your face, sealing off avenues you thought were destined for you. While those experiences were undoubtedly painful, and the pain you felt was absolutely real and valid, they are not the ultimate root cause of your delay. The root, the foundational issue, runs far deeper than any external circumstance, deeper than any wound inflicted by others, and God, in his infinite wisdom and boundless love, has been gently circling this insidious root during this sacred season of stillness. He has been bringing it to the surface, not to condemn you, but because he loves you far too profoundly, far too intimately, to allow you to continue building your life, your destiny, or your future on a foundation that harbors a deep, unseen crack, a fissure of unbelief that you, in your natural vision, have been unable to perceive. The real delay, the underlying, often hidden thing beneath all the other things you've identified, is a deeply ingrained belief that you have not yet fully released, a narrative you continue to hold on to within your spirit. It is the insidious belief that you are somehow the exception to God's magnificent promises. It is the quiet, persistent whisper that everyone else gets to step into the fullness of what God has spoken over their lives. That other people receive the miraculous breakthrough, the profound restoration, the wide-open door of opportunity. But somewhere deep within you, nestled in a vulnerable corner of your heart, there is a quiet yet incredibly powerful voice that relentlessly whispers, "Not you." It says, "Not after what you have done. Not after how long you have seemingly waited in vain. Not after how many times you have bravely started, only to stumble and stop, only to fall again and again, and then with great effort gotten back up only to fall once more." That persistent condemning voice insists that you are the one person God uniquely meant his promises for, but somehow, inexplicably, you have been excluded from the grace of receiving them. That, my beloved, is the most dangerous lie, a profound deception that has been masquerading as genuine humility. And it is, without question, the most cunning and destructive lie the enemy deploys against chosen people, against those marked for divine purpose. Because it expertly uses the very language of reverence, the deceptive guise of spiritual modesty, to produce the bitter fruit of paralysis, of spiritual stagnation, and of arrested development. On the surface, it may sound virtuous, echoing sentiments like, "Who am I to receive such a magnificent blessing? I am unworthy." But beneath that veneer of humility, its true function is far more sinister. It acts as an impenetrable barrier, a formidable spiritual wall erected between you and everything God has already irrevocably placed your sacred name upon, everything He has already divinely destined for you to inherit. It is a self-imposed prison of unworthiness, and just when you believe you have fully grasped the weight and implications of that truth, there is yet one more profound layer to uncover. And this, perhaps, is the most unexpected revelation of all, the one that ultimately reframes everything you have understood thus far. The absolute last barrier, the final impediment to your breakthrough, is not, in fact, unbelief in God, His power, or His faithfulness. Your heart likely still trusts in His omnipotence. No, the deepest, most subtle barrier is unbelief in yourself. Specifically, unbelief in yourself as the uniquely chosen vessel that God meticulously selected, not reluctantly, not as a last resort because better options were unavailable, but deliberately, with full, complete, and omniscient knowledge of every single mistake you would ever make, every single season you would, in your human frailty, perceive as wasted time, every single moment you would wrestle with doubt, every single instance you would make the wrong choice. Even with all of that laid bare before Him, He still called you by name. He still, with divine precision, wove your specific assignment, your unique purpose, into the very fabric of creation before you took your first breath. He still dispatched the angel with the answer to your prayer. And profoundly, He still sent you here to this very message today. Therefore, the profound shift that heaven is eagerly awaiting from you is not a desperate cry for more faith in what God can do, for His power remains infinite and unchanging. Rather, it is a call for more faith in who God unequivocally said you are. Because the version of you that perpetually keeps asking God to prove Himself, to provide undeniable evidence before you move, is the version that will, by its very posture, always remain in a state of waiting, forever lingering at the threshold. But the version of you that begins to walk, to speak, to live, as though what He has spoken over your life is already settled, already accomplished, already a done deal in the heavenly realms. That is the version, the emancipated, faith-driven version, that will boldly walk out of this season of preparation and into everything that has been patiently waiting for you on the other side of your sacred agreement with His truth. This is the moment. Not next week when circumstances might look more favorable, not when your feelings finally catch up to your convictions, but now, this very moment. Your profound arrival at this message was not a mere coincidence, a random click in the digital ether. It was a divine appointment, a precisely orchestrated rendezvous with destiny, and heaven, with bated breath and eager anticipation, has been leaning towards you, stretching out this entire time, patiently waiting for you to lean back, to respond, to engage in this sacred dialogue of faith. Place your hand on your chest and speak this with me and mean every word. I release the lie that I am the exception. I release the belief that my past disqualified what God already designated. I release the grief, the exhaustion, the weight of waiting in silence when I did not know if anyone was listening. I receive the truth that I was summoned here by name. I receive the declaration that my delay has been a battle fought on my behalf. I receive the authority of this season, the assignment hidden in the isolation, the treasure stored in the secret place. I am not behind. I am not forgotten. I am not disqualified. I am exactly where God placed me, being prepared for exactly what He promised me. The enemy's window is closed. What heaven has spoken over my life is sealed, established, and already in motion. I arise, I eat, I take the journey. I walk into what is mine, and I will not shrink from it one more day. If this message reached something real in you, something deep within your spirit that you have not been able to name or articulate until today, a truth that resonated with the deepest core of your being, share it with one person who desperately needs to hear it. Not to grow a channel, not for personal gain, but because the person you are thinking about right now, the one whose face just came to mind while you were reading that powerful declaration, they are likely sitting in their own profound silence, grappling with their own doubts and secretly wondering if heaven still sees them, if their prayers are still heard, if they are still remembered. Send it to them. Be the angel dispatched, the heavenly messenger, chosen by God to carry the answer, the encouragement, the truth to their waiting heart. That too is not random. Nothing about today, nothing about this moment has been.